All right, now we're going to talk about how all of this affects our health and happiness, right?
Yes.
And let's start with this idea. What does it cost women, because clearly it costs more than just time.
100%. Look, women are trying their best to juggle it all, but instead we have anxiety, insomnia, and resentment. And when their plate is too full, we found their health is almost always what gets pushed to the back burner.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what they need the most,
yeah.
right?
And that's when everything goes downhill, right? Because I think that when you're in your 20s and your 30s and even your 40s, you've got the strength and stamina, but it's a cumulative
Mm.
impact. It builds up over the years. So by the time you get to your 50s, if you're still burning the candle like that, you're going to have negative health outcomes.
So where did this all start?
Yeah.
I ask myself that all the time. It wasn't like I grew up in a household where I had all this attention that I was giving my children. The detail in which I took care of my children, I often asked myself, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Knowing everything at every moment, every part of the day. I was back and forth from the job. I was picking up. I was dropping off. I was taking to the after school. I was in the sports. I was making the dinners. I was bringing the snacks. I was driving the kids, friends, like, and working. So, how, and I didn't see my mother do any of that.
It's an interesting question,
Yeah.
So are we seeing this epidemic of burnout and the conversation we're having around invisible labor? Is it because, women are working big jobs outside of the house, very demanding, they're also responsible for most of the housekeeping and childcare, which we've been discussing. But the truth is that that is a new thing for us, for a certain class of women, because, poor women have had to do that work for always. They've always had to work and they've always had to look after. So maybe this is about parenting style, that for some reason, the parenting piece of this whole thing has become so labor intensive that it's pushing past women's abilities to do it effectively without going crazy.
So, when you say parenting styles, can you tell me a little bit about that?
As you know, I'm not a parent myself, but I certainly observe those people in my life, that are parents, and it just seems that the expectation is so high. I mean, they're scrolling, Instagram and these other things, and they're seeing all these perfect lives
Oh, that's
reflected,
so true.
you know,
Yes, yes, yes.
and the birthday parties have to be perfect, and they've got
Okay.
to go to skating, they
Okay.
got to go to music lessons, they got to go to soccer, it's just endless.
So the modern culture has us going. That there is a speed, I think, that was up. We talk about that. That wasn't, I'd get home after school and ride my bike, and it was not the way it is now. That the constant activity for the kids,
Right.
or they're going to be left behind in some
Right.
way. Yeah, I mean,
Well, you tell the story. I've heard you tell the story about, when your kids were going to kindergarten, right?
right.
And you kind of had the idea with like, okay, they're off to kindergarten now,
Bye, teach.
bye, you
Gotta go
guys
to
are going to
work.
take care of that. And
Yeah.
then suddenly they're coming home with these long lists of to-do lists, which have to be done by the next day,
I mean,
right?
if this is kindergarten, I was like, okay, I got to get involved. I mean, I have to help this young child. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So we used to talk, my husband and I would talk about like just what had to get done was outside of what a typical child, I think, could achieve and should even try to achieve.
Or a parent for that
And
matter.
so then we jump in, right? Where that wasn't that way.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
wasn't that way.
It's the Pinterestification of
Oh,
parenting lifestyle. Everything has to be
right.
perfect, and it's just an endless list. So here's my second question, right?
Hmm.
Is that where is the partner in all of this? Because if one member of the household is running themselves ragged trying to make all this stuff happen, where is the support from the partner?
I can only speak to my situation, right? I have a partner who is a teacher, so we could alter our schedule so that when I was not with the kids, he was with the kids. But ultimately, I think when both are working, it does fall to childcare. With the clients and friends that I watch and work with, it's very simple. They have a flexible job part time and they're doing it with the other parent,
Right.
or they're full time and they're not really in the house very much, all the way to mom works full time and they're Mr. Mom. So there's varying
Yeah.
answers to that.
I think you're being generous, right? Because I think some of the things that I see that the mom is at home breaking her back, getting the food on the table, bathing the kids, getting them here, getting them there. And the dad is like, well, I would love to help, but I'm actually reffing hockey or I'm out with Little
Mm,
League,
mhm, mhm.
and he sort of plays the part in the community, right? He's like the hero the hero dad in the community,
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes,
so honey, I would love to do the dishes, but I have to go out and I got a game
yes.
tonight. And meanwhile, this is the invisible work that the mom is doing in order that dad can go out and look like a hero in the community because he's doing all of this stuff, right? But no one's looking at the mom and going, wow, in this relationship, you're the hero,
Right,
because
right.
that's a thankless task.
Yes on that. I'm going to say yes on that. Good job, Bry. That is good stuff.